Well, you know, they say time flies when you're having fun. I guess it flew by today and yesterday. I've cut at least 3 grocery sacks full of sweet peas and taken them one bag to the hospital, one to a life care place, and another one to a rest home, as well as taking flowers to the neighbors and friends. And I've hardly dented the number of flowers that need to be clipped one by one. I'm tired. It's nice work, though. Mostly appreciated, I think. But anyway, not only does time fly when you're cutting flowers, it flies when you're having fun at Peabody, enjoying the classes, enjoying the people, enjoying being together. And boy, I'll tell you, suddenly it was graduation time. I don't remember a thing about the graduation ceremony. I just know it was coming and that we were ready for it and that we were getting packed up and going to leave, I think, the very next morning to head back to the Midwest, back to Kansas, back to California, Oklahoma, and Phillips University. Stopped there first. Stopped to see what the job market was, what job openings there were, and to inquire as to, what salary might I expect. Oh, I guess I thought that if the salary was $2,400 and $49.50 and $53.54, it ought to be a little more. Well, the professor in charge of the placement office function at Phillips University said, master's degree, and you had that half year of teaching, that'll count as a year of teaching. You had a year of teaching half time, that'll count as a year of teaching. You might be able to get $2,900 a year. Dang, I'd hoped for better than that. So, bye-bye. Headed on up to Kansas. I suspect he gave me a list of Kansas schools that had notified Phillips they were looking for applicants, and checked in, I don't know, her place, my place, both places, that, hey, we're back, and went out to Coates, Kansas, near Pratt. Pratt's a little bigger town by quite a bit than Coates. Still small town America, Pratt, but a very nice sized Kansas town. And Coates Superintendent Wagaman, an older gentleman, probably late 50s, maybe early 60s. Seemed very old to me, as young as I was. He seemed to think I'd do the job for them if I was really interested, and I was really interested. He said, well, I'll recommend you to the Board of Education. It wasn't very long. Got the call that the Board of Education has approved you. You are hired as coach of 6-man football, basketball, track for boys. No athletic programs at all in that school at that time for girls. Well, it didn't take long then to get organized, get our stuff that's been packed up, sent back to the Army, and send the granaries out and dust it off, and out we go and get, of course, I had to do a little house hunting, found a place, walking distance, small town, you could walk from anywhere. Walking distance to school, to the football field, and we're in business. Well, not much more than inside the door. I'm getting antsy to get started, to get over to school, get hold of the textbooks, and see what kind of football equipment we've got, and so on. And I've been over at school working a few hours and go back home in the middle of the afternoon, or maybe a little more in the middle, I don't know, but it was not dark by any means, that's for sure. And Donna says, hey, I just got a load of clothes here, a load of diapers to wash. Would you hang them? Sure, glad to. So, man, I've got that basket of wet diapers over there, and I'm hanging away, and I don't pay much attention, but I'm aware that a pickup kind of slammed on the brakes, and the door slammed, and, nobody knew me, nobody coming to see me. I didn't even look up. But suddenly I'm aware, hey, there's somebody walking very purposely towards me from that road. So I look over at this fella, and, it's kind of hard to figure what the heck is going on. He looked like a fellow with a mission. He walked to within, I don't know, 2 or 3 steps of me, stopped and said, young man, in this town, men don't hang diapers, or any kind of wash. Well, I figured none of your dadgum business, but I wasn't belligerent about it at all. I just looked at him, made no comment, and when he saw he couldn't get a rise out of me, he turned on his heel, walked just as purposely back to his pickup, got in it, drove off, and to my knowledge, I never saw the man again. Maybe I did, and didn't recognize him, and he didn't want to say anything to be recognized. Strange world we live in. You know, I was a conservative as a member of Dr. Himes' class, but obviously I was a liberal as seen by that rancher or farmer, and I think he was a rancher. Kind of the cowboy type. Well, Mr. Wagaman is old school. One of his codas, one of his advices was to never be in an office or a classroom or any place else with a closed door in the presence of a single female student or teacher. Sounds kind of silly. Pretty good advice. Pretty good advice. You never know how somebody might twist something, or somebody, you know, I've been aware sometimes a gal come on to somebody, and then I get a response, and the accused, then the guy who haven't come on to her. You never know. Well, Mr. Wagaman not only was a good schoolman personally, he was very, very proud of the fact that one of his sons, I can't remember if it was an only son or not, and I'm not sure whether it was Dodge City or Garden City, but it seems to me that that son not only was an educator, but was an educator in, I believe, a junior college at one of those two towns. Whatever his teaching duties were, Mr. Wagaman was proud of it. I like to see a father proud of his son. 3 points for Mr. Wagaman. Well, as coach, you know, that coaching's important to a young fellow that thinks he's an athlete. Became aware of a couple of things pretty quick. Small schools, of course. Coach was a small school, so the other schools in the league were small. Yeah, Isabel, not Sharon. Can't think of the other schools right now. Sawyer, I think, was one. Cunningham, not Cunningham, Cullison. And Skyline League was the name of that league. And incidentally now, today, near Pratt, there's the Skyline High School, which I suppose brought in all those little schools to form one larger, more competitive type of a school. Isabel, superintendent, was a man that befriended me from the beginning. You'll hear more about him later. In some ways, he was more of a mentor to me in how to be a school superintendent than Mr. Wagaman. Maybe because he and I became acquainted after I had left Coates and taken the superintendency down at Hartner. But that's another story.